Good evening, everyone. If we could please rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the September 26th Town Hall meeting at Southeast. There are exits behind you on both sides and an exit to the right of us. If you could please turn off or put on vibrate all your electronic devices. Can we get a roll call, Kathy?
Yes. Councilman Cypress?
Here.
Councilman Larka?
Here.
Councilwoman Lewis? Absent. Councilman Mazzata?
Here.
Supervisor Durante?
Present. I'd like to make a motion to come out of executive session with no action taken.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we can get right into our public hearings. Our first, our first public hearing is for Starbucks over at 1525 Route 22, Brewster, New York. If anyone from the public would like to come and speak, please come up to the mic.
Make a motion
Yeah.
to open the public hearing.
I'm sorry, I need to make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Please introduce yourself again.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. My name is Rob Aiello with the firm of JMC. We're the engineers for the project. Here with me tonight is Mr. Andrew Albrecht of Regency Centers, the owner of the shopping center, and Mr. Chris Raffaelli of Studio Architecture, the architect for the project. We're here tonight requesting a special permit for a new 2,465 square foot Starbucks at the Lakeview Shopping Center, which is located at 1515 New York Route 22. I have a rendering on a board that I can put up, or we can go to the site plan just to give an overview of where the property is on the site, or where the Starbucks is on the property. Okay, so procedurally, in terms of our request of your board, we're here for a special permit for a fast food eating establishment. A Starbucks is considered a fast food eating establishment in your ordinance. And per section 13853 of the code, we provided the general special permit criteria in our letter to you dated August 30th. And we also provided the requirements for the special permit under 13861, which are the specific requirements for a fast food eating establishment. With regard to the site plan, you can see on the screen here, on the right is the existing Burger King. So on the left is where the Starbucks is proposed. So what we're proposing is a 2,565 square foot Starbucks that has both an indoor and outdoor eating area, as well as a drive-through which has room for 14 cars in the drive-through lane. We've been before the planning board reviewing the overall site plan application, and in addition to the improvements that we're proposing for the Starbucks itself and the drive-through, we're also proposing various improvements to improve traffic flow throughout the shopping center. That includes improvements near the Key Bank. It includes improvements out in front of Rite Aid, and it also includes improvements at the northern driveway where you enter the site. Not at Route 22, but what we're doing is taking that median and providing a left turn lane and a through lane as you enter the property to facilitate traffic flow through the shopping center. In addition, you can see on this plan, we are proposing a pedestrian crosswalk across the northern driveway, and the intention of that is to complete what's going to be constructed, a pedestrian crosswalk across Route 22, by another project that just went through the approval processes with the town. I believe it's a senior living facility. So if they are able to construct that crosswalk, then we are willing to construct the continuation of it to bring pedestrians into the center. Regarding pedestrians, there's also a lot of work that's included in the scope to enhance both ADA access and also pedestrian access to and from the main buildings to the new pad site. So although we're, focused on the special permit requirement now for the Starbucks itself in front of your board, it's part of an overall improvement to the overall center, which will reduce impervious area by some 6,000 square feet. So we'll have more green space on the center now in proposed conditions than what currently exists, which will provide opportunities for landscaping that we've shown on our landscaping plan, as well as enhance stormwater quality and quantity. With regard to the Starbucks itself, you note in the statement of use, the various items, and Starbucks also does intend to operate the restaurant 7 days a week and 24 hours a day. So that was one of the requests in the special permit. If there's any questions on the site plan, I'd be happy to answer them, but I thought it would also be helpful for Chris Raffaelli to speak about the proposed building.
Can you zoom to the two crosswalks there? Just if you can explain to me the crosswalk on the right, that's kind of like on an angle. I assume you've been in the lot plenty of times. But what I notice when I'm trying to cross that crosswalk is because it's so long, people are going faster so they can get ahead of me walking across. Is there a way that maybe you could make that more of a direct angle so that then people could just maybe walk on that sidewalk instead of?
I think they're, well, go ahead, sorry.
So what we're doing with the striped area, people have the ability to cross wherever they would like to from the parking lot to the sidewalks for the main building. The purpose of these crosswalks is really to identify where the accessible route is for the ADA spaces. Because we're dealing with an existing condition that we're trying to bring up to compliance in terms of ADA, there are very specific requirements for cross slope and running slope. And based on the existing topography, that is the route that complies. So that's really the intention. But people will have the ability to cross wherever they would like, but that was really the intention of those striped areas. And that's, I think,
That
why
makes
they're
sense,
out there
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I think I saw somewhere on here that they were straight and now they're curved or diagonal. Oh, yeah, here. Nick, you're probably talking about this one, right?
The long
Existing
one,
that goes
yeah,
long
yeah.
and then goes this way, but this one's straight and now it's gonna be,
Okay, more of a flatter
Right.
route, basically.
But that's really what it is. It's
Yeah.
more about identifying the accessible route for people that are using the accessible
Yeah,
spaces.
okay.
this area here will hopefully be a lot better with these improvements.
Yes, what specifically there, when you're there, it's just kind of wide open.
It's a free-for-all.
Yeah, yeah. So the intention of these improvements is to reduce the number of parking spaces that back out into the area that's wide open, but also to channelize and make the main movement going in a diagonal direction up to the left. That's the main movement because you're coming in from the northern driveway. But then allowing people that are coming through the drive-through or coming from the northern parking lot to be able to queue up perpendicular, because right now you kind of pull in and you have to turn your head very far to the left. Now at least you can come up perpendicular, get a better view of the oncoming traffic. It's stop controlled and it's channelized, so it will improve the traffic flow there.
There's also the big dip there for the drain, which
Yes.
adds to the chaos in that corner.
Yes.
So,
Well, if, with a special permit in granting 7 days a week, 24-hour a day use, that's not like precedent setting for other uses? Is it by use and by special permit that we determine that? Or allow that?
Well, it depends. There are certain provisions of the code that don't allow 24-hour use, but I don't think it's ever been imposed as a condition.
I'm sorry.
I don't know that it's been conditioned, proposed as a condition, but it could be.
Okay,
I think they're asking for the opportunity to have 24/7.
Correct.
I just thought that was a issue in the
Right.
past on something, so I just wanted to make sure, something else. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I don't know that I think it really depends on the intensity of the use and things like that. I know that there are limitations, I can't think of off the top of my head, with regard to, I think it was car washes. They were special permit use and they are noisy. And so they have limitations on their hours of operation. I don't know that you could say the same thing about a drive-through for a Starbucks.
Okay,
And yeah, it's not a certainty that they will be operating, but they like the ability to if the market warrants.
Are other Starbucks open 24/7?
I believe there are.
There are?
Yeah.
There are some, but it's based on
Where?
volume and,
Yeah.
yeah, and what the business.
yeah, my comment wasn't specific to this, I don't know that I have a problem with 24 hours for this type of use, it was just other projects that have come up, that I wanted to make sure we were covered.
Right.
Any questions from the public?
I guess at this point, we've,
Oh, did he want to show the building?
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
might as well.
that'd be great.
You wanted to what?
Show the building.
Show the building.
Oh,
Good evening, Chris Raffaelli with Studio Architecture. We're the project architects. So this is the building. If you go to the rendering that's on the bottom of that page. So this is the view looking sort of southward from 22 at the front of the building. The shopping center, you can see it off in the distance in the background. So what you're looking at here is the front stripes for parking, a covered exterior seating there on the right, and the glass area is the main dining room. The materials here are of current standard for Starbucks. It's a cementitious board and metal panels. All of the finishes are carried around all four facades so that it minimizes what the back of the building might be. This is sort of looking from 22 kind of north. The shopping center is off to the left. Burger King, where that red stripe is, off in the background, and this is a view of the pickup window.
did you have to, last time you were here, I think you said the planning board was making you go get a variance for a sign in the back of the building?
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yes.
that gets
So-
here?
Yeah, so we're still working through the signage. The planning board did request that we add a sign to the back of the building, since it's not really supposed to be the back of the building. However, the current regulation requires us, or limits us to one sign on the building. So that one plus the two on the ends likely require variances.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should write a letter of support for
They definitely should. I think you should write a letter in support of
To
that
support
letter.
you guys, yeah, no, we're gonna let them decide. Okay.
So that's
Sounds good.
essentially the
We're actually
building.
kind of looking forward to it, you know, the parking lot needs a little facelift. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
If no one from the public would like to speak, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing for Starbucks
Second?
with a 5-day grace period.
Sorry
It's okay.
for a written comment.
Can you give
Second.
it- All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you guys for coming. All right, I'd like to make a motion to open the second public hearing.
Excuse me, Mr. Supervisor,
Yeah.
just procedurally, because we are trying to coordinate our timing and get things moving as quickly as we can, will we be coming back then to your board for a resolution? Will a resolution of approval be prepared? Are you voting or thinking about that? How
No,
does
I
that
think
work?
we will just have a resolution for next meeting
That's correct.
after the 5-day.
After the 5-day?
Yeah,
Understood.
and we'll have another meeting in 2 weeks.
Okay,
And
perfect.
I would assume we let them know. Kathy, is that, yeah?
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Welcome. Good
Appreciate
luck.
you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Free coffee for 3 months. Thank you, guys. Oh,
Gives me a headache every time he opens his mouth.
okay, I'm sorry. I'd like to make a motion to open the second public hearing we're having tonight. Local Law Amendment, Chapter 138, Regulation of Battery Energy Storage Systems. If anyone from the public would like to speak on this, please come up.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys. If anyone from the public would like to speak, come on up.
Hi, Robert Cullen, 560 Brewster Hill Road. I just want to thank the Southeast Town Board for being proactive and being ahead of this before anything gets filed. As we all know, see what's going on in Carmel. People are very upset. They never had anything in their code about battery storage, so I don't know how it's going to play out. But this is a good thing. I support not having these storage facilities in our town. Town of Warwick and I guess it's Orange County. They had one that caught fire, I believe, and it was like burning for weeks or something. It was like crazy. So anyway, good job.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mike, you want to come up and talk with us? So I feel, I just need to say, maybe piggybacking off of what Bob had said, I can't really speak for the board, but I know that living here in Brewster, the battery facilities are still an uncertain entity, and, you know, we just don't hear really good things about it. I mean, electric's a great idea, but I don't think we're ready yet. So tonight, Mike from the Brewster Fire Department came down to talk to us a little bit. Just tell us your name, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Can everyone hear me? Okay. My wife tells me I have a big mouth, so I'm sure you can. So a little background about the Brewster Fire Department and our capabilities. I'm a 40-year member of the Brewster Fire Department. I'm a retired 30-year member of New York City Fire Department. So I have a little bit of background. And just so you guys know, the 3 fire chiefs we have in Brewster, and we're all volunteer on the fire side, by the way. The first 2, the Miller boys, are New York City firefighters. And the third lad, Andrew McMurray, is on FDNY EMS, and he's on the promotion list to go to the fire side. So you have 3 career firefighters. I won't say just professional, because our volunteers are professional as well, but you have 3 career firefighters as your chiefs, besides us old farts that are around that have a few years of experience. The Brewster Fire Department is all volunteer. Our EMS side has now gone to a nonprofit status. We have 2 ambulances that are now called Brewster EMS. They're a nonprofit corporation under the supervision of the fire department. This year we'll do over 3,100 calls, so to do that on volunteer basis is almost impossible. So the fire side is still all volunteer. When you call for an ambulance, you're going to get some of our professional EMTs, and a lot of them are members of either the Brewster Fire Department or other volunteer agencies. In Brewster, we have a problem, and that is we don't have hydrants throughout our district. Town of Carmel, or I should say the hamlet of Carmel, does have hydrants throughout the district. The other parts, Mahopac Falls, do not. In the village of Brewster, we have a good hydrant system up Eagles Ridge and Brewster Heights. They actually get their water from the reservoir, so they will never run out of water. The Home Depot area, Independent Way, and up Ace Endico Way, Field Pond, Fieldstone condos, and the nursing home in Barrett Hill, the new apartment complex there, are also on a good system. The rest of you guys, if you do have hydrants, they're probably painted black, and that means we don't use them for structural firefighting purposes. So we have to carry our water, and that's why I'm segueing into the battery energy storage systems. A Tesla, if it catches on fire, it usually takes between 30,000 and 50,000 gallons of water to put it out, if the battery pack is involved. The little hoverboards, our cell phones, our laptops, they all use lithium-ion battery technology now. I'm sure you've seen on planes where someone's laptop or cell phone has caught on fire when they're up at 30,000 feet. Well, the airlines have small containment boxes. They put the item that's smoking in that, and they're okay. That's why they don't want you to check baggage with lithium-ion batteries, because they're down in the hold, and at 30,000 feet, they can't get to them. Normal extinguishing systems, dry chemicals, CO2, halon systems, they don't put these fires out. People think of lithium-ion batteries as solid, but actually it's liquid inside there that is causing the battery reaction to work. So really the only way to put them out is with copious amounts of water. Sometimes the chief will make a call to let the item burn. But if you're going to have a big system, that's usually not the case. You want to put it out so you can isolate from the other battery packs. So the, who was it that was talking about Mayapack? Oh, Mr. Cullen was up here. In Mayapack, the town of Carmel, the East Energy Company is proposing to put in 116 gigawatts of battery storage. So what they usually do is they put them in, you know, the 40-foot storage containers that you see on trucks and in construction yards. They put them inside a container like that, and they put 10s or 20s or 30s of them. The fire departments are, I wouldn't use the word afraid. We're anxious about these type of fires. We don't want it to have in our district. And in Brewster, which is all volunteer and without great water sources, we only carry about 6,000 gallons of water on all our trucks combined. We don't want them. So I thank the town board for being proactive on this. The town planner, Ashley Lay, let me put, as representing the fire department, some paragraphs into it, such as requiring the 40 kilowatt and 80 kilowatt battery systems for residential homes put in a fireproof, waterproof container with venting, because if you don't vent it and it catches fire, it can explode. And certain other things as far as fire codex, sheetrock required, distancing. When it was initially wrote, they could have been stored in the basement or the attic. We said, no, we want them at minimum in the garage. And if it's the larger 80 kilowatt hour system, we want it outside. And some other things, I don't want to talk too long. I could go on and on for this. But I thank you guys for, and gals, for setting this up. And if you have any questions,
Yeah, don't leave. I have a couple
please,
questions.
please ask.
So is the liquid inside the battery, is it a reaction? Is that what keeps the battery alive?
Yes, yes,
is-
like a lead acid battery. You got an anode and a cathode, and I'm not a chemistry guy or even hazmat.
That's how it works, yeah.
30 years in the city, I never worked in the hazmat company for good reason, because they're all chemists. But yeah, there's a reaction going on like a regular battery. The problem with lithium-ion batteries comes from damage, if there's damage to the batteries. So it used to be thought that most of the times these would light off, it was when they were being charged. And in the city, FDNY has experienced a lot of deadly and large fires from lithium-ion batteries. They're usually small because it's the folks that DoorDash and Uber, you know, they have, if you've been down in the city in the last couple of years, you see they're riding on the sidewalks everywhere with the motorized bikes. Most of these people are hanging on by their last nickel, and if their battery goes bad or their charger goes bad, they go to a non-legit bike store and they buy whatever they can afford to get. There was a story on CBS News recently because the fire department was saying, make sure when you buy a charger and a battery, it's got a UL, Underwriter Laboratory sticker on it. Well, now on Amazon you can buy, or you could at the time, counterfeit UL stickers, you know. Everyone's always trying to make a buck. So that was thought to be charging the batteries is when you have the problem. They get overheated, it's not the correct charger because the chargers are mated to the battery. You can't, they're not interchangeable. But But there was a statistic just released last week by FDNY that actually of all the lithium-ion battery fires they've had in the last 2 years, 60% of the fires involved batteries that were not being charged. So obviously, it started because they were damaged. Damage is the big problem. I've been in this fire department and in this town for over 40 years, and I can only think of one lithium-ion battery fire we've had. It was last year, and it was a scooter in someone's driveway. Our hazmat, Putnam County has a hazmat team, all volunteer. If we get anything major, we call Dutchess and Westchester, and the 3 units get together and brainstorm how to put it out. But a small job like that, we don't call in other counties. But what we do with a small battery fire is we put in a 55-gallon drum that's filled with, it looks like glass marbles. It's called cell block is the name of the technology. You put the battery that was burning, that we've put out with water, you put it in there, cover it with these marbles, so to speak, and crank down the container. The top of it, it's got a vent on it. And basically, if it lights off again, it melts the marbles, they're glass, and it melts it around them and smothers it. The lithium-ion batteries, what they are, they're packs of small, they're like the D-cell batteries, but like 3 of them stacked on top of each other. That's one unit of a lithium-ion battery, and they put them like together in hundreds. So when one lights off for whatever reason, usually damage, it's like you have a pack of fireworks and you set it on fire and the fuse burns and maybe one firework goes off, but there's 10 others there lying dormant, and you say, oh, it's dud. Well, if you know fireworks, if you played with them, I have as a kid, once in a while there'll be a delay and then the rest of them will go off. So that's what they call, with the batteries, they call thermal runaway. And thermal runaway is when you think you have the fire out, and it could be an hour, it could be 2 hours, it could be a day, it could be 5 days later, the others will start to burn. And they can spread very quickly. You can light each other off as they go. So that's what we try to do, is minimize them, separate them. With this local law, we keep it small. A 40 kilowatt, you're allowed to have 40 or 80 kilowatt for 1 or 2 family dwellings, according to our local law, the proposed law. The 40 kilowatt is the size of a big igloo cooler, you know, the ones that fishermen have, the big white ones that they put on the front bumper of their trucks sometimes. That's about the size of the 40 kilowatt. 80 would be double that, okay?
Can 40 do a home?
I'm sorry?
Can 40 do a home?
It can, but I have to be honest with you, I don't know how long it can power and how much. I don't know if you have 10 mini splits in your house, if it can, you know, power them all. It probably can, but not for many hours. The Carmel, the Mayapack proposed battery farm, that's being built, and I'm digressing, I apologize, but that's being built to make money. This company wants to make money. They're going to be affiliated with NYSEG, and Will, you probably remember this because you're a little older than some of these young folks. Storm King, remember Storm King? Storm King Mountain was across the Hudson River in either Rockland or Orange. Con Edison, does everyone know Con Edison? The power company down in the city, they wanted to build a hydro storage. They were way ahead of their time, and this had to be 30, 40 years ago. The environmentalists fought it and won, but what they wanted to do was pump up water at night, off-peak, into this huge reservoir they were going to build, and during the day, when they needed more juice, instead of lighting up another power plant, they would let the water flow down towards the Hudson, and it would create power, hydroelectric. That was turned down. But what these big battery farms want to do is, at night, when NYSEG has extra power available, they buy it at a low price, and then during the day, if NYSEG needs more power, you know, think of in the summer when you have a real big heat wave. Instead of lighting up another natural gas plant, they buy that power back. So my long-winded dialogue, sorry, I apologize. Any other questions, or don't you dare?
I just want to thank you for your help, Mike.
Yeah, very informative.
I represent the Target Hazard Planning Group, THPG. I worked with Councilman Laura there, Larka. And we're trying, as you all know, the town of Southeast has experienced a big boom, especially with warehouses and big facilities and apartment buildings. The old Golf Dome property is going to be, as the gentleman before me said, senior citizen housing and self-storage facility, last I heard. I don't know, has that changed? No. I mean, with interest rates going up, a lot of these developers have stepped back, I think. But our big push is to sprinkler everything if we can. Require at least a buried cistern with 20, 30, 40,000 gallons of water we can use. Ideally, if you guys could find the money, put hydrants throughout the whole town, but I know that's not going to happen, and I'll be eating dirt when that happens. But just, I thank you for your support you've given to us. We want to remain a volunteer fire department as long as we can. And the men and women of Brewster Fire Department, thank you all.
Thank you.
Hey, it was a great parade last couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the feedback was good, and I think we're going to do that in the future. For those of you that don't know, we changed the route from down in the village to coming down North Brewster Road, and all the units lined up on the tree streets off in North Brewster. And then the bullpen and the bands playing and everything was down at our substation on 312. So it seemed to be well received, and
For sure.
we're going to do it again.
Thanks, Mike.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from the public like to speak? All right, so I'll make the motion to close the public hearing with the 5-day grace period to respond if anyone, for, yeah,
Yeah.
written comments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we can go right into the work session. So today, Kathy gave all board members the budget I prepared. We're looking to do a few things with new employees. We're definitely gonna have a little bit of a challenge with the budget, but it's now in the board members' hands, and we're gonna let them have a go at it. Anybody wanna?
Any highlights you want to share, or
Well, yeah, I mean,
anywhere you invested or cut, or any risks you see, or?
no, at this point, we kind of made sure we were funding everything without any risk, basically. We are hiring a full-time crew chief for our maintenance department. And that is something that we're adding from last year. We also, there was one other, I apologize for not writing that down. But yeah, I feel like we're very close to being where we need to be with our workforce. It is a contract year. We are still negotiating one contract with the CSEA members. So other than that, yeah, I hope that the board,
Yeah, I mean, my stance, I won't support us breaking the cap, so hopefully over the next few weeks, we could make some adjustments, but you got close.
yeah,
so.
yeah, we got real close. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about this again in 2 weeks at our next meeting.
And just this budget proposes 3.61 increase, and the tax cap is slightly above 2. So if we want to be under the tax cap, that's where we're going to look to make cuts. And when do we have to have this back? Eric sent something, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I left the paper in my office. I think at the next
I
meeting.
think at the 10th, we need to set the
public hearing.
hearing and stuff.
For
So,
the,
which means we need the revisions in, because they need to be part of the public hearing.
yeah.
So Ron better not go on vacation.
No.
And we
he-
need this in
he's-
Excel,
he's
too,
aware,
like
yes.
tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So,
But I think what Ron and I mathematically figured out, where we are right now, per household, it's $22 a year if we were at 3.61.
Yeah, and that's fair. And, you know, the problem is, like, everybody always comes to you with, it's only $10 a house, it's only $10 a house, and all of these things add up. And I'm only speaking for me, but I won't support a budget over the cap. So, you know, even if it's only $10, we're gonna find a way to get there, and for me.
Yeah,
So,
I feel the same way.
Alex, you have anything you want to say or no?
No, it's going to be my first budget to review here, so I'm looking forward to dig in and really see what's in it and see what we can, it's pretty expensive, so,
Looking forward to it.
It was very fun.
but, no, I like numbers, so I
Yeah. It was actually, honestly, it was very interesting to see how many different lines we have that you may never realize till you actually look at them.
Mhm.
But yeah, okay, so if nobody has anything further, we could move along. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to open the regular meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of the correspondence.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to approve for the approval of the voucher list, which is $1,719,734.64.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of the budget transfers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to set meeting dates and public hearings. All meetings will be held at 1360 Route 22, Brewster, New York, at 7 PM unless otherwise noted. Thursday, October 10th, 2024. Thursday, October 24th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have a couple resolutions. Our first resolution is the New York State Police Station, Route 312 and Independent Way, establishing performance bonds. Whereas the town board is in the receipt of a recommendation from the town consulting engineer dated September 29th, 2024, and from the town planning board dated September 23rd, 2024, with respect to the establishment of a performance bond for the site improvements to be made in connection with the construction of the New York State Police Station at the intersection of New York State Route 312 and Independent Way, tax map number 56.1-23.3.1, and whereas upon review, therefore, the town board agrees to accept this recommendation. Now therefore be it resolved that the bond amount shall be established for the project set forth below. Project name, New York State Police Station. Site improvements, $415,000. Soil and erosion, $28,000. And be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution shall be transmitted by the town clerk to the planning board secretary forthwith. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Our second resolution is the Drew Realty Site 160 and 170 Fields Lane Performance Bond Establishment. Now therefore be it resolved that the following bonds are hereby established for the project set forth. Project name, Drew Realty Site 1 Landscape Maintenance, 2 years, $5,000. Storm Water Control Maintenance, 4 years, $34,000. And be it further resolved that upon posting of the maintenance bonds set forth above, the town clerk be and hereby is duly authorized to cancel and return the erosion and sediment control bond in the amount of $78,000 previously established and posted in connection with this project. And be it further resolved that A certified copy of this resolution shall be transmitted by the town clerk to the planning board, secretary, and building inspector forthwith. So moved?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that is all of our meeting items. So if anyone from the public would like to come up and have a comment, you can come up and do that.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew Jarrett. I reside on Foggingtown Road, and I'm one of the owners of Lobster Hill Farm. I prepared something to read tonight real quick. My wife Jessica and I operate our first generation regenerative farm, specializing in pasture-raised poultry for meat and eggs, forest-raised pork, as well as goats for dairy and meat. We purchased our very unmaintained, unloved eyesore of a property last March because we were wanting to expand what was a hobby farm, and this property was a perfect fit due to the zoning of R160 in the town and the general uses which worked out for us. Uses permitted by right for us include farming, include farms, commercial greenhouses, nurseries, including the processing and selling of products therefrom, provided that there should be no commercial piggeries, mink farms, or slaughtering of the animals, which we don't do slaughtering anymore. So, accessory uses by permit or by right as well do allow us to do greenhouses, which we don't currently do. Our focus is livestock, but it does allow for keeping of farm animals be permitted on a lot of 5 acres or more, which we currently have 75. The keeping of the animals in accordance with the town statute as well, 138-23.1, and any building, stand, or structure for the sale of farm products not to exceed 150 square feet, which we currently do not have anything. You can ask our neighbors and visitors of the farm who have been there before we purchased it how much of an improvement we've made in a short 18 months of being there, which 3 I was not even local for. These improvements have been made by true blood, sweat, and a lot of tears from me, my wife, our children, close friends, and family who have helped. And they see what we are trying to do. Being a regenerative farm, 99% of what we do is manual labor. We are doing everything we can to minimize any negative environmental impact, so it's all done by hand. Yes, I use chainsaws. Yes, we have a tractor, but I can't exactly pull logs myself. So all the work we do daily is to provide our local communities with very local and healthy foods to feed their family. There are minimal farms in Putnam County who are easily accessible, or that our citizens are even aware of, that provide local, healthy meat products like we do. This was our first year participating in local farmers markets and have been welcomed by the people with open arms and total excitement that they can now source their meats locally. As I mentioned all of this because I feel that it is important that you understand what we are trying to do for our local communities. We are within town codes for animals that we have, as stated by your own building inspector and code enforcement, along with any work that we have done. Outside of one neighbor complaint, which was swiftly addressed and cleared, none of our neighbors dislike us. We've talked to a lot of them. None of them dislike what we are currently doing on the property. So a question to you, only after we applied to be a part of the Putnam County Agricultural District were we then handed multiple violations. Many that the building and planning department were aware of, and one that was an unfortunate slip of my mind for our rental apartment. We have cleared these violations and are compliant as of my conversation with the building inspector this past Monday. I know that there were also, and may still be, concerns about us grazing our pigs through the New York State DEC wetlands. I have had the DEC on premises to discuss our operations, show them what and where we are doing it, to which they stated they are okay with all that we are doing. Wetland grazing information can also be found on the DEC website, which does allow for grazing through New York State DEC wetlands. The stream on our property, just for your information, is a Class C stream that for the last close to a month that it hasn't rained, has not run because it's not a normal running stream. If there are still concerns about possible contamination to the water sources due to the animal feces, I ask you then, what is the town's plans to stop this from happening with the wildlife? It's no different than our animals being in it. Our hope that the concerns of water contamination are also, or even more so, focused on the vehicle junkyards located on Route 312 and Tilly Foster Road, right next to the reservoir. A feces contamination is much easier to clean than any motor vehicle fluid. I am in the automotive industry, and I promise you, it is very difficult to clean up, as we all know from oil spills. Finally, I would like to address a letter that was written to the county legislator and comments that have been made regarding our farm in the agricultural district recently. In the letter from Mr. Durante to Legislator Yonke, dated August 19th, 2024, while the violations may have been valid, the comments regarding our inclusion in the ag district and the town losing the, quote, ability to control the intensity of the use and operations, as well as that we could conceivably host large events or festivals on the property, is inaccurate to an extent. Our inclusion into the ag district does not allow us to not follow any town codes outside of sound agricultural practices. Our inclusion into the district, no, we'll read that one again. So if we wanted to have a festival, we would still need to follow the appropriate steps and get the necessary approvals from the town to do so. The town never loses the ability to enforce health and safety violations that are brought to your attention. On a recent comment made by Legislator Yonke on September 17th at the Physical Services meeting, he stated, quote, "My town board that's in the town of Southeast, the majority of the town board that I have spoken to, 3 out of 3 members are in favor of abolishing the ag district, and that anybody who wished to start a farm or farm in Southeast come to the town and deal with the planning board and deal with the zoning regulations that are already in place at a town level. And moving forward, if we do decide to make changes to the requirements, I would surely want to have notification of property owners within 500 feet, much of like we do with the zoning boards." He goes on to mention that neighbors should have their input, and while I and other farmers want to have good relationships with our neighbors, as we all should, my right to sound farming activities trumps a neighbor who may not appreciate what I do. I have the right to farm on my property, and if I'm within town codes, what my neighbors may not appreciate or agree with, again, unfortunately, my right to farm trumps that, as long as I'm not causing any safety hazards to them or anything unbearable. Is the want to abolish the county agricultural district due to our citizens not wanting local agriculture? Or is it something that the town elected officials and employees have decided to do on their own? Either way, there is a need for more local and healthy food, and it is up to the citizens to decide if they want local and healthy or imported and mass-produced. I could go on, but I do feel that I've said my piece at this moment. I am very open and welcoming to more conversations on all of this. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down. Does anyone else from the public have a comment?
Hi, Robert Cullen again, 560 Brewster Road. One question about the state police barracks. Is that building going to be owned by New York State? Is that a state facility or is it being rented? Okay. I'm just surprised that they have to go through town approval process since it's a state agency. I mean, it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I'm just I don't know.
Bob, to answer your question, I believe it's going to be leased to the, built by private enterprise and leased to the state police ultimately. I
Okay.
think that's the,
So that,
I think that's the model.
Okay,
Very
so-
similar to the barracks that.
right, I know they
currently
rent
on
the
22.
they rent this,
And they're going to be moving over to this location.
okay, so that makes sense then, because I was surprised, because I know like schools and they don't have to go through the town.
Something I learned, which people might not realize, one of our planning board members is very up to date on surroundings of buildings and landscape and things like that. And they had approached the state police asking for some landscape. They can't do it. They can't put trees near their windows
Right.
for sightlines. I never knew that. That's why those buildings are so exposed.
Right. So I know that building they have is very obsolete, and I think it was somebody's house or whatever, right, years ago, or?
I'm not sure it was somebody's house, but it is definitely obsolete.
Right. I know some troopers in the past that worked out of there, and they were saying the facilities were horrible, like they only had one bathroom, female troopers had to change a sign, and, it was really bad. So, no, this is a good thing, so. Anyway, okay, that just answers my question. As far as the budget, it seems like it'll be a little bit challenging. I know salaries, you were talking about some of the employee salaries and stuff. I understand another town employee just quit recently because the salary was low, a court employee who got a better offer upstate New York, some community court or county court up there. So I know it's a slippery slope. You want to pay your employees a fair wage. Obviously, you have, got to keep the budget in line, but, it's not good to have employees come use this as a training ground and then move on to other communities. And, I brought it up a couple of weeks ago, or it's like the city of Mount Vernon Police Department. They lost like over 100 people in 4 years just transferring. They come, they learn what to do, and then they go to other police departments. Anyway, as far as the budget, Nick, are you going to get a raise this year in 20? No, okay.
And honestly, I think at this point, none of the board members are going to take one either. So we can actually help out our CSEA employees a little bit without taking from the residents.
Okay, no, that's, because I know when you were running for
Oh, yeah.
office, you made a
I'm
commitment
good.
not to take a raise for 4
Yeah.
years, so just want to make sure you're keeping your words.
Yeah, definitely.
And there is, just to clarify, there is a raise for the board members in this current budget, but,
For next year.
For next year.
The provisional budget, right?
Yeah.
The supervisors,
That'll
right.
be a lever that, we'll have to agree on, but I think that's a lever we'll use to help us get below the tax cap.
Right, okay. And the other reason I'm here is I was here, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, whatever, bringing up some issues about the assessor's office, people being underassessed, and just curious if you did any research or looked into
Yeah.
assessing your own family member's house, if that's a possible ethical or
I'm
conflict.
going to let Will handle it, but
Yeah,
I
Bob,
will
we've,
tell you
I've done-
first before.
I've done a lot of research. Lori's been on, our assessor's been on vacation for the last couple of weeks. I apologize. I am working on a response, which will be in writing, most likely under the supervisor's signature, but I'll be drafting it. I haven't found any evidence of any wrongdoing, and that's, the bottom line, but I want to, provide you with all my legal analysis as well as the documents that we've gone through to support our conclusion.
Okay. I mean, I still think somebody with more assessment experience should be weighing in on this, such as hire or some, none of us are assessors, but this originally came from a complaint that an assessor wrote a letter to the town.
I understand that, and I'm
Right, so it's
aware
not
of
me
that.
just coming
I
up like,
I'm aware of that, and I also am aware that there are probably some ulterior motivations behind those communications. And I also believe that a professional assessor making some of the comments probably a little bit out of line, because he knows the law better than most.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to reiterate what the law is in the in my correspondence. But I would, if you're going to use the reassessment of somebody's family's home, We have a system where we're on an annual revaluation. And I will show you in writing and in documents and computer-generated returns that the assessment of that particular property stayed in line with all similar properties of the same nature.
Mhm.
So to say that the assessor is targeting a family member's house in reassessment, I think it's off base.
Well,
Because of the way we do annual
Right.
revaluations driven by a computer model.
right. So my concern was, as far as that one property was, it's assessed at, and I don't remember the numbers, that I didn't bring it with me, but it's assessed at a certain rate. The house is now for sale at over 100,000 over the assessed rate by the same person, so that
But if
seems
you
a
were, if
little
you were
bit
to
of a
ask any,
challenge.
ask any realtor whether they're going to ask a price that is higher than the assessment is out of whack, what do you think they would tell you?
Well, I mean, in talking to some people, you know, if we have 100% assessment and you're the assessor and you're saying the house is worth this, and then you're going to go sell the house, it should be sold for what you're saying. I mean, obviously, if you get more money, that's great, I guess, but,
Well, as I know, I'm aware that the house has not been yet sold, and whether it sells for at or near the assessment is really driven by the market.
right.
So,
And then I guess we'll see how accurate the assessment is based on the sale price, so if it does sell, you know.
but again, you have to understand that our annual assessments are done by a model, where a lot of data is put into a program, if you will, to determine the increase in value from year to year, and we're talking market value, based upon a prior year's data.
Right.
So,
No, I just know the properties on Field Lane were assessed at like $1 million or something, or $2 million, and it sold a legitimate sale for like $6 million.
Again,
So-
those sales conceivably could go into the following
All right,
year's
so we'll see, all right, hopefully.
database.
Right. I
But
just-
also, there are anomalous sales that really don't make any sense and don't match the market. And it seems as though you've been able to identify one or two, one residential/farm and another industrial piece of property, which, when you compare it to other recent sales, their value per square foot was significantly higher, with no explanation. And it could be that there was a business involved in the sale and they didn't carve the business out of the price of the land and sell the business separately. They just put it all in the land. There's a number of different things that could happen. But as far as recent sales are concerned, those two individual sales are anomalous. They were really way out of whack compared to other relatively contemporaneous sales.
So my concern is just that everyone pays their fair share.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And
That
I
they're
think
paying
that-
their fair share, because if they're not,
Yeah.
that means everyone else has to make up the difference, so.
Well, that's absolutely correct. And
Right.
I believe that that's the way our revaluation system is
Right.
aimed to do, and it's meant to be fair. So,
Right. Okay, no, I just, hope the ball
But I-
wasn't dropped, and
No,
it's still
I-
going to be looked into, and,
it's been looked into,
know.
and we'll continue to observe what goes on, but, I don't seem to think there's any glaring problems that I've identified yet.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Anyone else from the public? So anyone from the town board have any comments or thoughts?
No comments.
I actually have a little letter I want to read here. So I got a letter, maybe September 10th, exactly when I got the letter, and the letter basically says, "I commend your assessor for maintaining a system of real property tax administration that meets the highest standards set by the state." So I have I just put together a little something, someone else helped me put it together. So it's called a cyclical cyclical aid certification and payment. So Southeast does a multiple-year plan with New York State for annual reassessments. Upon completion of the first and last year of the plan, the town can apply to New York State for this aid. The amount received is based on the number of parcels in the town as well as the amount of funds available in any given year to be paid by New York State, up to $5 a parcel. Doesn't seem like a lot, right? Southeast just received notification on September 10th that New York State will be paying $35,446 to the town as a result of having met the requirements for this aid in 2023. The letter states, the taxpayers in your community receiving the benefits of equitable assessments that reflect current market value. New York State letters also stated, I commend your assessor for maintaining a system. I just read that actually. Such efforts are essential to guarantee equity and fairness to the taxpayers of your municipality. So in the previous years, like 2020, it was 24,000. 2017 was 18,000. 14 was 16,000, and 2010 was almost 30,000. So I thank Lori Bell, our assessor, for being diligent and.
So I have two questions on it. Thank you. Is that annual that we get that revenue? Or
No,
It's cyclical and it comes maybe every 4 to 5 years.
Is that in the budget? I'm serious.
Honestly, I don't think it is, because we got the letter September 10th. I haven't talked to Ron. I guess tomorrow morning I'll be talking to Ron.
So will I. All right, thank you.
Said you had two questions.
That was
That was
annual, and is it in the budget?
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to make a motion to close the meeting in honor of Joseph Cicolanti. I'd like to read a little something that Will prepared for us to speak of Mr. Cicolanti. It is with great sadness that I move to close tonight's meeting in the memory of one of Southeast's prominent citizens. Joseph Cicolanti, a lifelong resident of our town, passed away from this life on August 29th, 2024 at the age of 98. Joe was educated in Brewster, studied at Harvard and Columbia Universities, and received a degree in government from the University of Arizona in 1952. I think my dad was 10 years old in 1952. After high school, Joe enlisted in the U.S. Army and served during World War II as a member of the 89th Division, 355th Infantry Regiment Anti-Tank Company, seeing combat action across the European theater. In 1952, Joe married his childhood sweetheart, Mary Palmer, also a member of a prominent Brewster family. Together, they raised a family of 4 children, Mark, David, Andrea, and Noel Campbell. Joe was predeceased by his loving wife, Mary. He is survived by his 4 children and 3 spouses, 7 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. Joe is also survived by his sister, Carola Genovese of Brewster. Excuse me. Joe served as supervisor of the town of Southeast for 6 years, 3 terms back-to-back in the day. They were 2-year terms. And also as a member of the Putnam County Board of Supervisors, the predecessor of our current county legislator. Joe is credited with spearheading many meaningful, land-lasting accomplishments during his tenure in public service. Joe also served as a chair of the Putnam County Democratic Committee for 10 years and was a trusted advisor to both John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy. Later in life, Joe became a member of the Conservative Party and remained active in politics throughout his lifetime. Joe was probably the best known for being the builder of quality homes throughout Putnam and Westchester counties, many right here in the town of Southeast. A majority of the homes in Star Ridge Manor, Clubhouse Estates, and Salmon's Daly Brook were built by his team, to name just a few. Joseph Catalani has distinguished himself as a civil leader, honored veteran, and honest businessman in our community. It is with great sadness that we pause in our deliberations to express our condolences to the family and memorialize the life of a member of the greatest generation. If you can all please rise for a moment of silence for Joseph. Do I have a second on my motion to close tonight's meeting in the memory of Joseph Catalani?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.